What's up, WAGMI? We're going to be talking all things VeVe and NFTs. Stay tuned and join us for the discussion. What's up, WAGMI fam?
Yo, what's up, WAGMI?
It is Crypto Addict.
This is A5 Crypto.
And we just wanted to come in and just kind of talk about what's been going on with the market, VeVe, just anything. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to tune in, drop a comment, let us know. Like our video, subscribe to our channel, and yeah, we're just going to talk whatever here. And
yes, sir.
Market's been kind of interesting here. Have you been keeping an eye on what's been going on?
I did in the past couple of weeks. However, just to for the sake of my psychology, I just been staying away from the markets a little bit, and just holding what I hold, of course. And just it's some interesting times right now, so gotta play a little bit safe at times for me, and that's just kind of my strategy. What about you?
Yeah, always keep an open eye. I see a little different. I mean, a lot of people have been worried about the market, and a lot of hype has kind of died down with VeVe, and people see that as it's a lot of fun, you know what I mean, and people trying to get out the market. I see people selling wallets, trying to sell them for cheap, man. They're going for they're trying to give them away for $12K, and I'm like, man, that's crazy. No one's would have thought that, hey, you'd have this opportunity to get a wallet for $12K again, and that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and it is crazy, and at the same time, I mean, that just goes to show how impulsive the market can be, and that's what happens when you constantly look at prices. That'll do it to you whenever prices dip so hard and way below than what you expect it to be. And for me, the way I see it is you know what? I know what I hold. I'm just gonna hold it. Not constantly look at the prices. How it was back then, and right now. Just chill, man. That's and for the most part, just try to stack, and wait for the market to return to be able to bottom out to get back in.
Yeah. So for me, it's an accumulation phase, and you can think that the prices could still go lower, and it very well may, and that's because the people that are invested into VeVe and the VeVe marketplace, they're not your everyday day trader. These guys, this is kind of their first investment, because VeVe was an easy investment. You get in, everything you bought kind of just went up in price, right?
Yeah.
And now you saw even with Matt Gonick, who is a great artist, right? But his drop is going under retail, and that's kind of the thing nowadays. It's you can't expect everything to resell above retail price, because as the market gets more saturated, there's certain ones that are gonna stand the test of time. There's certain ones that are still gonna hold their value long term.
Yeah.
And there's gonna be certain ones that don't. And so you got to kind of be aware of which ones you're invested in, and which ones you're kind of that you're actually kind of gambling with.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, you can always still bank on first appearances. I mean, golden moments. Those obviously they're gonna jump in value whenever the market turns around, right? And right now at these prices, if you got the gems, I would say, if you have the capital and you want to get in, possibly soon or now, it will probably be a good time to get in. But if you've already gotten in way below, whether at mint prices, selling now is just kind of risky, right? Because you're risking trying to buy back higher when the market turns around, and that's always going to be a fail, right?
Yeah. I mean, you're never gonna really guess the highs and the lows here, right? It's always gonna be you just gotta find your buying price and your target price. You're not going to be like, okay, I know the market is going to dip at this point. No one knows, you know, and the market is way too young. Everything that it goes to, everything that it pumps to is always price discovery. But one thing you want to realize, and I think a lot of people don't realize and are kind of worried about, is that the number of collectibles getting listed is actually going down. So while you're thinking the prices are going down, you don't realize these things are selling, and a lot of them are actually selling. So you have, I may even be able to pull up, let's see here. I think a good example would be like, let me see if I can get Walt here, because the number actually listed is going down, and while it's going down, you would think that when there's less available to buy, the price should be going up, but it's the exact opposite.
For sure.
It's going down.
Yeah,
and the price is going down. So
yeah, that just shows how like the like once someone picks up all of that, the bottom prices, like the gap between from all-time high is like not that far, you know. And you have people who are holding, and then people who know exactly like the real value of, you know, the golden moments or any kind of other collectible. You know, they're just gonna be waiting, you know, because they're sitting pretty comfortable at this moment.
I got all right, so one of my favorite sites here, Economy Wiki. If you guys don't use this is great. Yeah, if you look here, if we break it down, we have prices up here where it's listed at its all-time highs, right? You see this, like 40K, and look at how many are actually listed. You have a lot of listings here, you know. You're averaging around 200 listing here when it's sitting around 40K, right?
Yeah.
And what you notice here is that the listings are actually going down. You see the prices going down and the listings are going down.
Yeah.
Remember, the total listings are going down, and right here we're sitting down at 169 total listings, and we're down. So from its peak, even its peak listing here at 44K, yeah, 227 listings here. And now you're down to like 169. So as the price is even dropping, like, what you don't realize is that the price is going down and the total listings is going down. So as these prices are going down, there's people that are still accumulating these, and more of these are actually coming off the market. So you have less and less available on the market. You think about now the price gap between each collectible, right? So let's say you may have had before at 40K, you may have had like 10 or 20 of them listed for 40K each, right?
Yeah.
Now you have like maybe 10 or just 5 listed at 40K now. Like the number actually listed at that price has gone down because now you have a bigger gap. And when the market pumps back up and people are actually buying in, you're gonna notice that these prices are gonna actually skyrocket a lot quicker, because you buy one and then the next one's gonna be like 5K more instead. Now the next one's gonna be 5K more, and the next one's gonna be 10K more. And you're gonna see the prices will jump up a lot quicker because the number listed is actually much less than it was before. So there's actually less you have to buy in order to pump the price up higher. So that's something to be aware of, is that if you're a smart investor, while the listings are low, you have no reason to pump the price right now, right? You want to keep it low because you want to continue to stack up while the price is low. But you know that the market will jump really quick when there's this supply shock that people realize, wait, there's not that many listed anymore. And that's going to cause a lot of FOMO back into the market. So if you're someone that's looking into this, pay attention to the total number that's actually being listed, because more and more are coming off the market during this dip. The price may not reflect it, but they're coming off the market and they're not getting listed back.
Mm-hmm.
And as a smart investor, that's something you would see and be like, okay, I need to accumulate more of these, because when you do come into that supply shock, you're going to end up FOMOing with everyone else, and the prices are going to go ridiculously high. really, really quick.
Yeah, I mean, it's a basic concept of supply and demand. Obviously, like the demand is low, but also the supply is getting low as well. And once things kind of start bottoming out, obviously you see that chart kind of slowly going down a little bit, and you see a sideways action price going on. It just takes a couple of buyers, and people, once prices slowly climb in, and then people won't, the supply is just limited, right? And then people will have to be buying back a little higher when they could have gotten at these prices. So, but if you don't want to play that, that's just one way to play the game, right? Another way to play, so obviously, like, just hold, and then you got to understand, like, your price. You got to know your number, and then once you hit your number, you just got to be satisfied with that number and just cash out, take your profits, move on to the next, etc., or just hold on to whatever you. If you're a true collector, then hold till whatever hold what you like. So yeah.
So what I like to do is I have an account where I like to hold, right? I keep all my collectibles that I don't touch, and I have another one where I'm actively trading on. So that one you could see as, I'm trying to make moves on. And the thing is that whatever I'm doing on that account, I have no ties to. I don't care about, like, what happens to it. That's pretty much just house money and collectibles that I'm not worried about. So let's say I do end up getting a vault there, then hey, maybe I won't mind selling that vault, because that's one that I'm flipping to get more gems from, and I'm trying to accumulate more gems so I can actually get more collectibles that I'm actually trying to work up to, or just acquire a large number of total gems in general so I can purchase something to hold in the long term when the market actually pumps or whatnot.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's what I like to do is always have two, one for flipping it and one just for holding.
Yeah, and then that's another strategy, right? Like, have separate portfolios, so that way you can control, like, your emotions in that kind of way, right? Like, you understand, like, okay, I have a bag set, I'm good, don't worry about it. And then you have another portfolio saying, like you said, whatever you're gonna play, flip towards something, and once you get to what you need to get, then rotate that into your long-term portfolio. That's like another strategy as well. So yeah. I mean, rinse and repeat. But yeah, man. And like I said, selling at these prices is just ridiculous, because you're gonna end up buying back higher. Let's just say in maybe a couple months or so, depending on how this whole situation turns out. With the whole. I mean, I don't know if NFTs are. Yes, they are affected by, like, the whole global and, like, the whole war issue with Ukraine and Russia. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, this is human behavior, right?
Yeah. So, how do you think, like, as far as you think people are waiting for, like, some big announcement, like? You think people are waiting for, like, some type of utility uses, or you think they're waiting for just MTL, or do you think this is actually because some people are getting MTL and they are cashing out? Like, what do you think part of it is?
Obviously the from a global standpoint, right? Like, the stock market, the commodities, all that, and the war that's going on right now. Let's be real. Crypto and a risk on asset, meaning that whenever was that
you're breaking up a little bit. You're good now.
What I mentioned was that crypto, NFTs, the whole crypto space, it's considered a risk on asset. So basically, what a risk on asset is stating that whenever the market is pretty green, and then people are feeling a little bit greedy, they're gonna risk a little bit more, and then usually that risk will go into more speculative type assets, such as crypto or such as NFTs, etc. And then we saw that earlier in the bull market in 2021, right? Like, where NFTs were just booming like crazy. Whether they got minted, they would flip 10 to 20, 50x, whatever. And then now that we're somewhat in a, I would say we're kind of in a little correction bull market. Hopefully it's a super cycle still, but anyways, right now people are taking profits because they don't know what's gonna happen right in this whole situation. So they're gonna risk less in these type of assets such as NFTs and cryptos, because these assets, they're illiquid, meaning that there's a limited amount of buyers and sellers in this market, and for someone to get in and out of their money, it's going to take some time, versus like stable coins or any kind of like other stock, right? Like you could just get in and out at a particular price. It's super liquid, etc. But with crypto and with NFTs, super illiquid, right? You're gonna have to wait for that specific buyer to come in and purchase.
You know what needs to happen, and this is gonna be a big. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and share it. This is gonna be something that some company needs to create, because this is gonna be massive, right? And I would like it if Ecomi created this, and I'm gonna call it an access card, okay? And this is gonna, to me, this is how I see the future of NFTs and how there's gonna be utility uses to it. Think of it like a rewards card, okay? Like if you were shopping somewhere, let's say you're shopping at like Kroger's or whatnot, right? You can scan your card and get reward points or whatnot from it. So think of that as an access card, or like a credit card, okay? So if Ecomi can create this, now think of unstoppable domains, right? Unstoppable domains where you can actually link. The reason why I'm not saying ENS and unstoppable domains, because unstoppable domain allows you to link multiple wallets on multiple networks, right? Mm-hmm. So let's say they have a web app where you can connect these wallets into your hub or whatnot. And what it is these wallets are going to know what NFTs you own on what network. Okay. So you can connect multiple wallets. So let's say you connect your VeVe wallet, your MetaMask wallet or whatnot. And what happens is, how you can buy these scanners for your cell phones? Like if you wanted to charge on your cell phone, you can use any merchant account to send you a scanner, and you can scan people's credit cards from your phone, right? Right. So if Ecomi were to create like these access cards, which are like credit cards or reward cards or whatnot, right? And they gave or allowed businesses to have these scanners that they can connect to their phone or set up in their shop or whatnot. Now think of it like this. You connect your wallets on this web app that lets you link wallets that have your NFTs that you own, okay? So let's say this club decides to, or not, let's not say club, let's say this yacht party decides that, hey, if you own this NFT, you're going to be allowed onto the yacht, and they can verify that now. You get what I mean? Because what happens is they have this scanner. You can walk in with your access card, you can scan it, and they'll be like, okay, this person legitimately owns this NFT, and it can show the owner like your name or whatnot, so you can show your license to prove that you're the actual person as well. I don't want to get into the full details of how that would work, but just general idea is you can scan it. It shows that you have the actual NFT and that you're the owner. Yeah. And you'll be allowed onto the boat. You know what I mean? Because they like accessing you own the NFT. And not just that. So now you're thinking like, okay, how is Disney going to be able to use these golden moments? Now think of it like this. You have the access card. Easy, right? Let's say you have a golden moment, and let's say they say that every single golden moment is going to give you 10% off Disney World, Disneyland, whatever, right? Yeah. Anytime you go to the park, before you even scan, like you can scan your access card. They'll prove that you have the NFT. They'll apply a 10% discount to whatever you're buying, wherever you're eating, whatever, right? And then you pay with a discount. So that's a quick added way to add utility. It's just that card feature, or like I said, I'm calling it an access card because I don't know what else to call it. But that's something that everyone can begin to do, and how utility can be applied. And this could be for rewards, like reward points, just businesses that are now like their memberships are in the form of NFTs, anything, because you can easily apply discounts to it. And the thing is, you can put expiration dates, like, okay, this one's going to expire at this certain date. So when you actually scan what they have, if they have an NFT that's expired, you know, the discount's not going to be valid anymore. And the thing is, no one can replicate that. No one can, you know, fake that they own your NFT and should get the discount because it's not in your wallet, it's not yours, you know? You can't fake that.
Yeah.
So
right.
I think that technology is going to be great, and Ecomi has these secure wallets that they have already for crypto, so I can see them creating, well, I mean, I can see anyone creating, but it would be great if they would create something like that and open to the public, because I think that would be a big deal if someone creates that, the first person to create that, because that's not an NFT project. That is something that allows interoperability amongst all wallets on all networks, kind of like unstoppable domains, and is an easy way to verify that you're an owner for a lot of people. And it can work out a lot of ways. Like, you can set it up to, like, you know, your access cards to access buildings and stuff like that. You can have these easily just tap and unlock a door if you have access to it or something. Like, there could be a lot of things you can do with something like that. And that's just some of the uses for NFTs. Even your movie ticket stubs. And I know I'm kind of breaking down a lot of different examples here, but even if you buy a movie ticket stub, you know, it adds it to your wallet. All you got to do is go in and scan your access card, and you got your ticket. You go in.
Yeah, I mean,
easy way to verify ownership.
For sure. Like, I mean, there needs to be like you said, a better use case, an incentive to really want to, you know, have these like collectibles or these NFTs, you know, and like those kind of discounts. Yeah, it's for like experiences. Like, people are willing to buy those kind of things, right? Eventually, it's just a matter of who's going to execute that, right? And yeah, I think VeVe or Ecomi, they have an opportunity because they already have a community, a huge community, in my opinion, to back that and make this kind of idea come to life, you know.
Whoever makes it, it's going to be huge.
Exactly, especially with these big, because right now, when we hear the word like metaverse, we think about, you know, it's still like an unknown. It's still like an unknown definition of that term, right? Like, no one can really define what the metaverse is, right? But
do you question like the world going digital? Like, do you question that things are going to go digital versus physical, or do you think that digital is still questionable in your opinion?
It's not questionable. It's just not established. You know what I mean? It's not like fully established. I'm talking about the metaverse. It's like, let's face it. Like, digital is, we're already there, right? We're using our phones. We're communicating. We're paying. We're very interactive with our devices. But the metaverse itself, you know, the imagination, like, no one has brought that to actual life just so yet. You know, I feel like the metaverse itself is, people are still trying to figure out what the metaverse is, and then it's gonna take someone big to really execute and really make that definition of metaverse come to life, and people could easily say, yep, that's the metaverse, you know. Because right now people have a lot of ideas about what the metaverse is. People are just telling ideas and stuff like that, but it's not like a clearly defined term yet. What do you think?
It's something that everyone's trying to get into, but it's inevitable. I think it's gonna happen. Like, it's harder for I would say there's a generational gap as far as who's gonna be into the metaverse and who's actually buying digital assets, for sure. But I can practically assure you that just about every single child that's growing up in this generation, or every single like teenager, has a cell phone. Every single baby starting at the age of 5 months is using a tablet, you know. And it's like, what are they doing on these devices, right?
Yeah,
they're already naturally wanting these digital sweaters to put on whatever game they're playing, right? They're gonna automatically want, you know, whatever things they can get their hands on that's digital for their character. And, you know, they're gonna naturally spend mom and dad's credit card to buy a digital asset, and it may be a small purchase, but just the idea of buying these digital assets, that's gonna be natural to them. You know what I mean? And then once the generation, once there's a change in wealth from generations, like this generation, it's normal to buy digital assets. And I think that is going to be the difference, is that everyone is so used to buying digital, and not just that, like think of the amount of people you can reach digitally in the internet, in the metaverse or whatnot, right? There's so many more people you can reach. Like if you play any type of multiplayer game, or like Fortnite, for example, right? Like playing Fortnite, you meet so many different people, and you think like, how many people are you actually meeting online? It's not just locally in your small, like not just your school, not just your college, not just your city. You get what I mean? Like you're meeting people around the entire world, and a lot of them are going to be sharing the same interest as you. You know what I mean? And that's what this generation grows up with. A lot of this generation is growing up with this, and they're meeting more people online than actual in real life. They're playing games online, they're making friends online, they're interacting online, they're dating online. It's because you can reach more people online. If you own a Ferrari, right? You pull up to a bar in a Ferrari, there's however many people are at that bar is who's gonna know you have a Ferrari, right? And everyone there is gonna be like, oh, cool. Like, what do you do for a living? Or, like they want to talk to you because you have something that is appealing to them, But once you are in the metaverse, once you're online, the whole world knows. You know what I mean? Like you're now taking a picture of your Ferrari and posting it on Instagram and putting hashtag Ferrari, then everyone on the internet checking the hashtag knows you have it, and you just reached a bunch of people you never thought or knew, like, ever in person, right? And I think that type of flex and the way people want to show off what they have online to not just people that they know, people that they potentially can meet, just around the world, I think that is more valuable to them than just having physical things. And that can push, to me, the value of digital things more than their physical counterparts, just because of the amount of people that will be aware of what you own digitally because of the type of reach you have. I think that's a big deal. What do you think about
totally
that?
agree. I mean, definitely it allows right, like it's a social aspect of owning a particular asset or collecting particular things. It allows us to really connect with those with like common interests, similar interests and everything, and that's how we as human species, human beings, we really enjoy just having similar things and similar interests with other people, and being able to socialize and have that connection, like you said. And NFTs, collectibles, it's just another way of us being able to connect in that kind of way, right? Like you look at any kind of social platform, there are certain people that follow a particular accounts because they like their content, right? And people who collect a specific type of collectible or NFT, they're going to get a following as well because there are people out there that like their collection, and this, it's just how we work as human beings. We just naturally gravitate towards people that have very similar interests, and we surround ourselves with those like-minded.
Like, to think that people don't care about what goes on social media or whatnot. Like, think about it, like, actually, like if you posted something on Twitter, right, and LeBron James likes your post, you're super excited about it. Like, oh wow, LeBron James liked my tweet, and it's a big deal to you because you like that social aspect of it, and
Yeah,
that's something
it makes you feel good inside, right? Like it releases like these, not to get like all scientific, but like dopamine, right? Like it's this whole dopamine type of release that our brain does to us when we feel acknowledged, and just appreciated or just admired, right? Ultimately I feel like that's the whole thing. We have certain things because sometimes we just want to be admired by others, and yeah,
that's the type of impact like that the social network can have. And that type of impact, when you can actually, now it's not just like, hey, this person like you can show off like, hey, I have this, and
yeah,
that's a big deal. And
yeah,
as much as like even with the prices going down or whatnot, like I don't think people realize how big of a deal all of this stuff is going to be down the line, because to be able to say that you have the first of something ever and be this early as an adopter, that's a big thing. If to sell it and then not have it, and then to be like, oh man, I used to have that, like no one cares. No one cares that you used to have it. Like, where is it? Like it's like someone saying like, hey, it's like, man, I used to have Bitcoin when it was $10 or whatever, and it's like, okay, so where is it? Like where's all your Bitcoin? It doesn't matter anymore, right? Because you don't have it. So
yeah.
I mean, if you're selling, just know that, hey, it may be that you can never, rebuy it. Just be aware of that. So, I mean, the safe thing to do is just to hodl, long term. Know what you want to do with it. Like, don't get greedy all the time. Like, yes, you can flip and you can make more money. And like I said, that's why, I separate my accounts for that. But if you do want to play that game, just be aware that whatever you're selling, the market can completely do the opposite of what you're trying to do, because man, it's not predictable. This stuff you're doing now, we're early adopters. This is new. There's no real technical analysis that can actually determine the tops, determine the bottoms. There's not even any charts. There's no candlesticks. There's nothing. Economy Wiki is a great site. It's a line chart. It's more of just what the floor is at that time. It's not like you're not getting, like, you can't break it down to, okay, let's see the daily charts, the weekly charts.
Yeah, you can't like identify like supports and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, none of that exists. And I mean, it'd be amazing when some of that stuff does exist, but even when it does exist, like none of the market. So the only reason why like Forex or anything like that works with trading analysis is because you have to realize that a lot of these people, and as much as we hate to say the word bots, because bots are everywhere, but the moment that VeVe has a web app, there's going to be trading bots on the app as well. And these are the guys that are going to be moving the markets, because they're going to be the ones using Fibonacci. They're going to be the ones setting supports and resistance. They're going to be the ones checking like every single TA and determining, hey, this is an entry point, hey, this is a sell point. And the thing is that with these bots auto selling, auto buying, you're going to have these certain points that you will see dumps and you will see pumps. And if you have any type of maybe a little above basic knowledge of trading analysis, you can pretty much kind of determine, okay, this is a possible selling point, this is a possible buy point, and you may be able to react better to the market with trading analysis. But until we get to like a web app, until we have more maturity in the market, and until we have like better charts to determine this, that's going to be too hard to predict now, and it's a risky game to do it. And so like I personally wouldn't like advise at scalping this market, because like I said, it's very risky and you're paying a lot to the licensors for it. Like if you're doing any type of Marvel trading, that's 8.5%. You're already got to take into account when you're trading, right?
Yeah.
So even then you got to consider, like, you may want to consider just doing like DC or doing like, in the independent artist or whatnot, because the fees are a lot less and it's a lot easier to flip those. So there's a lot of things you need to consider, but you can't always guarantee it with TA, because there's not really true TA yet, right? Like we don't know like how far can Walt go down. We don't know, because there's no history to show that we have support at this level or anything like that, right? Like there's nothing for us to confirm anything, because everything is price discovery right now, and we gotta be aware of that before making some moves.
If there's anything that you can use to gauge, is you can kind of gauge how the market, so like for example, like people on Twitter, you can tell people are really getting kind of greedy in a sense. And you know, any kind of like market psychology, when the herd starts to get greedy and people are constantly buying, FOMOing into these ridiculously high prices, that's a kind of a key sign of the top. You know, it might be time to sell, and that a correction may be coming soon. You know, even like a couple months ago, you could tell like when things were just popping left and right, people were just jumping in, buying like crazy. Like those, I feel like that was kind of an opportunity to kind of like maybe scale out if you have a portfolio to flip and stuff. But like I said, if you're a long-term holder and you got in like early prices and like you got at mint prices, selling right now might be risky, because you might end up buying back a little higher. So market psychology, you could tell with crypto, with Twitter, the VeVe Twitter folks, and even in those spaces, you know, when they're talking, you can tell there was some sense of greed, and that the market was a little overextended, in my opinion. Now that I think about it, what do you think about that?
So I'm gonna say this: as much as people think they're an expert or think they're right, no one is an expert in the NFT space. Okay, like I'm not an expert. You're not none of us are experts. Okay, this market is way too young to be experts in this. But if you want to know like one of the tricks that I use to really determine where I think the price is gonna go, free tip for you guys here. If you're trading typically on any type of trading platform, you get to see the sell volumes and you get to see the buy volumes, right? And you don't get that with VeVe. But what you can do, and what I kind of personally do, is I go in, and some of the stuff that's not as highly traded that you can use, like partners is a great example, because there's only so many that can get listed on and off the market. And how I kind of explain about the amount getting listed on and off the market is actually going down. What you can actually look at is I typically do like 2 pages down at least, is take a screenshot of all the people selling, right? Do it every single day. Like each day, just take a screenshot of 2 pages at least, right? And what you'll begin to notice is the people selling and the people listing. It's always the same people. And you'll realize that people are changing their positions. It's not new listings and new people selling. People are changing their positions, and they're changing their listings that were higher and undercutting and listing it lower, and that's what's constantly driving the price down. It's the same people listing, and if you see that, it's either a good sign that, I mean, you can see that there could be like a sell wall. There could be a certain price point that people are putting it at, and people typically call these sell walls because they're wanting to list below their wall or whatnot in order to accumulate. But if you typically see something like that, if you pay attention to the people actually listing, look to see if they're actually, like, how often they're showing up, and if they're actually trying to sell their collectible or if they're actually trying to drive the price down. Because you will notice that some names that show up are not typically the lowest price, especially for like a wall collectible, but they're like usually like three away from the actual lowest price. And the thing is that they will let someone list lower, and then they will continue to drop the price as they continue to do it, continue to drive the price down, rather than setting up a sell wall. And that works for something like a wall because there's only so many listed. But if you continue to follow like the people listing, you'll see like which ones are actually getting bought, and which ones are not. And I think if you can track that, what you will begin to learn, like what I see is that what I kind of explained before is that these market gaps are increasing, because you'll see that the gap between one price to the next price has gone up a ton now, or a lot more than it was before, just because you have these same people that are continually undercutting each other. And if you get that type of move, if you see the type of movement, just realize that once these people are done undercutting each other and those are sold, the people that have actually purchased it, they're no longer in a rush to sell their collectibles. They're no longer in need of the money. And if you know that there's 10 people doing it, and you realize that, okay, these 10 names are starting to disappear, you can kind of assume that, okay, now these collectibles are in the hands of someone that is not planning on selling, and that may be a sign that the price may begin to drive back up, just because the people that have been pumping the price down now have their collectibles sold. And from that point, it's like, okay, price is about to go back up, just because you don't have any,
no one's else willing to sell lower. Yeah
And no one's selling lower than that. But yeah, if you can pay attention to the people actually listing it, you'll realize that as those names that you're constantly seeing begin to disappear, the pricing will start to increase organically. And that may be a good indicator of an actual bottom to a price. And of course, there's going to be people that eventually give in to the FUD and list their listing or whatnot, and that's what they want. I mean, that's what I want, because, you know, I want to accumulate more. So if you continue to list it lower, that's fine by me too. But if you're smarter about it and you pay attention to it, then yeah, just be aware that it's not always manipulation, but people do panic sell. People do need the money, and they do think that, hey, I can buy in at a later date. And that's always going to happen, man, because no one can predict tops and bottoms. But that's something I use to kind of determine, okay, this may be the bottom, just by the names, the common names kind of depleting. But yeah, because Walt has right now like 160 listings. It's not too hard to follow who the people are that are listing it. So that's just one example of one. And there's a lot like that, like a lot of the golden moments, you see a lot of the same people. Anything I check things like, even though I don't think Pilly Fantasy is a good investment, that's one that I look into as far as flipping on my flip account, because I have no intention of holding it, you know.
What is?
Like any of the Pilly Fantasies.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I've been saying,
honestly, I thought those were a bust, to be honest.
I know a lot of people were hyping in. There's multiple videos where I'm just like, I don't see the value in it, because there's a generational gap of people that are actually into it. And
yeah,
you know, even the stuff that I'm into are different than what, you know, my parents are into, or what's traditional. You know, I'm not as traditional and into like the traditional stuff as much. So yeah, I think this generation and the society is kind of drifting away from the more traditional aspect of things like that, and that's why I just wasn't too into it. But I mean, the fee is much lower, so those are something that is a much easier flip if you want to accumulate a little over time. And you'll notice that there's a lot of people that are just building sell walls and trying to dump these at the same time. And what you can kind of keep track of is how many of those names are starting to disappear. And you'll see that, I mean, as those names disappear, the price kind of shifts a little. So I think right now it's listed, like the common is listed for like 42 gems or something. That's what the sell floor was at. And yeah, those are just things to monitor. It's just monitor who's listing what and how many people are listing it, and just keeping track of that. That's just one thing to do, and that's what I do when I'm just trying to flip. But aside from that, like that's not the favorite thing for me to do, is to flip. You know, I'm more of just gonna hodl. That's more of me. But as far as tips, as far as when I do, that's just one of the things I do as far as trying to flip and accumulate more gems from flipping.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, at the end of the day, the best way to be successful at just investing in anything is just to hodl, right? And know what you hold. So, but yeah, I mean, clearly there is other factors that are coming into play in the market. Like I mentioned, NFTs, they're risk on assets, so a lot of people aren't going to risk as much, especially when traditional markets are doing so well. So people want to hold on to cash, and people want to protect their capital. You know, capital preservation is key during these kind of bear market times. But if you want to make real life-changing money right now, buying the blood has always been the best strategy.
I mean, is it really blood though? I mean, if you look at what the prices are from retail, everything's still above retail price. Like, if you got it in at retail, you have no need to panic over the prices, right? Like, everything's above your. I mean, of course, there's like the Matt Gondik's latest releases, like those are below retail, but for the most part, you know, everything has been above retail. Anything that's been purchased in the past is pretty much above retail price. So if you got it in at retail, you got nothing to worry about, man. You're in profit regardless. Like, yeah, you could have more money in profit, but profit's profit, man. Like, what are you mad about? Like, you got Walt at $300. Why are you mad that Walt's at 25K? You know, like, man, that's a ton of money right there that you just made. Yeah, you could have got it at 40K, but that's the greed talking to you, and greed is only going to lead you down a path where you're going to end up losing more money. And I say that from experience in my early days of trading, like just getting greedy and always trying to get the exact top and the exact bottom was the reason why I was missing out on a lot of trades to start off with. And you know, once I established a certain formula and I stuck with it, you know, that was the best thing to do and the best way to have continued success in most of your trades. Like, you're not gonna win every trade, and you're not gonna win. You may not win more than half of your trades, but the thing is that the ones that you win in outweigh the things that you lose out in, and that's how you end up getting profit from your trades.
Yeah, I mean, yes, we can all agree. If you got in at an early time, yeah, you should be up and you should be fine. I mean, and of course, if you're expecting things to go up, you know, best thing to do is just hold and just wait. I mean, you can't deny that this is a correction going on. So yeah, there is some blood.
Also know, not everything is going to recover. You have to be aware of that. That's why you have to be aware of what you're invested in. Not everything's going to recover, because you're expecting a recovery from people coming into the app that's new, right? And you know, they're only going to be looking for certain things, right? They're not going to always look for, you know, I don't know, they're not going to look for like a Spider-Man 2099 like right off the bat. You know, they're going to look for the original Peter Parker Spider-Man or whatnot. Like, you got to be aware that
the blue chips,
people are not just coming in and be like, oh, I just downloaded VeVe and I'm looking for that 007 poster or something, you know. Like, that's not the first thing that comes to mind for people that come into the app. And it's not that they're not great collectibles to have, right? And that's part of VeVe. They want you to collect what you like. So if you like that, collect it. But if you're looking from an investment standpoint, just think about, hey, you're new to the app. What's the first thing you want to buy, regardless of price? You know, if everything's the same price, what's the first thing you want to come in and buy? And those are going to be the ones that people tend to lean towards, and those are going to be the ones that you want to really hold long term, because those are going to be the ones to stand the test of time. IP matters, because IP is kind of the engine that kind of drives the market for that.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree.
which one would you say, which collectible do you think is actually going to be the most valuable in 2 years currently on the app?
In 2 years, I want to say, man, it's a tough one between the Batmans, the first edition Batmans, or the golden moments. What about you?
One in particular. If it's me, in 2 years, I don't think VeVe is large enough to overtake the value of a character and IP. So I think in 2 years, Walt's still gonna be more valuable than Batman or Todd McFarlane or whatnot, because Disney IP is much larger. So I think in 2 years, Walt will be leading as far as most valuable, surpassing Spider-Man. And I think that based on the success of VeVe, if VeVe becomes as mainstream as we would like, we can see like a Todd McFarlane really kicking up in value just because that is VeVe's first and original. And I mean, being part of a large IP as well, but the fact that VeVe itself has become so mainstream and so large, I think over time that can really drive the value of the first series and, you know, the Todd McFarlane Batmans.
Yeah, but totally agree. I mean, there is a catalyst behind Todd's, right? Like, it's the very first VeVe NFT Batman, of course, big name character. Walt, you know, super iconic, limited supply. However, I mean, Spider-Man, he's like the most popular superhero, so you can't count him out. But I mean, we'll see how things play out.
My only issue with Spider-Man is there's so many Spider-Mans, right? So which one is it going to be? Like, this generation, are they going to be into Miles Morales? Like, is that going to be their Spider-Man? Is that going to be the Spider-Man that takes over? Like, there's so many, you know, iterations of Spider-Man that I think it's going to be hard for Spider-Man to really hold its value long term as like the most valuable thing. And I think Walt is so original that in itself, being with such a large IP, that in itself is going to make it the most valuable.
Yeah, but I mean, it goes back to say, like, the generation that chooses to pick and choose what they want to collect. You know, you think they want to collect a man holding a mouse's hand, or would they rather collect something that they?
You go to Disney World and you see a statue, so kids, this generation, they see that is something that they visually see when they go to Disney World or, you know, Disneyland or whatnot. So
yeah, but not every kid goes to Disney World. I've never been to Disney World.
Yeah, but I mean, you can say that, like, I mean, but they understand Walt and Mickey Mouse at the same time.
Well, if they don't,
it's tricky. I understand, like, like Spider-Man's a popular character, right? Like, he's in the movies nowadays. Like, you don't see any new Mickey Mouse movies or anything like that, right? But I think that there's a lot of things that continue to make Mickey Mouse and, you know, those Disney characters so valuable. And part of it is, you know, the name Disney itself is so large, and going into like the Disney store, you have your Mickey Mouses and stuff. Like, that's something you're accustomed to seeing, just, you know, tied to the Disney brand itself. And like, yeah, Spider-Man is a great superhero, but I don't think Spider-Man in itself just has that same, not just his story, because I mean, Spider-Man has been a long time superhero, but just overall, I just think that from a collector's standpoint, just Mickey just has more value overall. Like the Spider-Man doesn't symbolize anything in the physical world that can relate to it, and this wall is an actual partner statue, and that also, to me, just solidifies it as an iconic piece just to have and to own.
Yeah, I mean, still subjective in a way, right? Because there's still not that many pieces available, and with the generation coming up, you think they have 30 to 50k to drop on something that isn't really significant to them?
Yes. So there's 58 million millionaires in the world. So there's plenty of millionaires that are willing to spend a few $100K.
I guess we'll see how it plays out. But I think Spider-Man has more value just because he's still relevant to this day, still releasing movies. Mickey Mouse, we haven't really seen a Mickey Mouse movie in a while.
We have Max tuning in here with Spider-Man would beat Mickey.
What up, Max?
That's kind of true, because this brings me back to Professor vibes in the Spider-Man costume, and no doubt Spider-Man would beat Mickey in basketball.
Totally agree.
Glad to have you on the stream too, Max. Yeah, but it's subjective. But I mean, overall, I really think that.
I mean, don't get me wrong; they'll all have value. It's just a matter of which one will really
kind of
take hold. Yeah, test the time of the next generation, and I think that Spider-Man will more so just because Mickey's very minimally relevant into this pop culture day and age, to be honest.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
And not counting that out, but I mean, just personally right now, I just feel like that partner statue piece is it's just a must-have. You can't replicate any more. Like, what other Walt could you put on the platform? I don't think you can put any other Walts on the platform, right? Like, there's not another Walt you can put out, but there's plenty more Spider-Mans that you can put out.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, do you feel like Walt is only valuable right now just because of the number, just because how much it costs? Obviously, right? I mean, let's just say it was worth below mint prices, right? Don't you think things would be changed?
No, I still think that, like, if Walt was below mint price, I don't care. Like, if no one else understood the value of Walt, I would have bought a bunch of Walts just for myself. Like, that is a piece. So in like so there's a game called Arcade, and you can be a hero in Arcade, right? And when you're a hero, you get, after your term, you get this reward. It's just like a golden statue, right? And that statue is something that you can place in front of your home that you build in the game. And so as a hero, you get all of these statues and gold statues you can put in front of your house. And to me, like, if I could buy Walt for super cheap, I would see it as that. I would just stack a bunch of these golden statues and I would surround my entire house with it. Like, if no one else bought Walt statues, I would buy all of them and I would just surround my house. I would build a house out of Walt statues. I don't know how many pieces that would take. But.
So, I mean, I'm just going back. I'm just trying to be devil's advocate here. I'm just saying, like, in trying times, like, say right now. So, people are more likely to want to hold on assets that they are able to use to, let's just say, to survive, right? Like, to pay bills, to pay for staple items, survive, and to, live another day, I suppose. In these trying times, people are not going to hold on particular illiquid assets. You know what I'm saying? Because those aren't going to pay for certain things that are essential for you to survive in this world. That's why I mentioned before that NFTs, collectibles, they're risk on assets. Like, people are willing to risk more whenever they have they don't feel the pressures of the economy at their backs. You know, the prices of gasoline have gone up. You know, like the demand for oil is needed because there's a war going on, and therefore people want to risk less on speculative assets like crypto, like NFTs, collectibles, etc. And so back to my question is saying, like, is the partner's statue only valuable because of the price?
I don't think so. I think the partner statue is valuable because it's a historic piece and it's practically one of the most iconic symbols of the Disney brand, and the brand itself is enough to drive the value of that piece. And even though like prices dip or whatnot, like, man, this comment, because I agree with this, Max. Yeah, during these times, like, this is when people are thinking that this is not the best time to buy in because, you know, it's hard times. Like, yeah, people need the money now. People are worried. People have fear. But that is when you want to accumulate, because, man, it's like you don't buy in when other people buy in, because you're buying in like with the FOMO. You don't want that. You want to buy in when people are scared to buy in. And yeah, man, that's why I don't think Walt going down in price is, you know, to me, it's not a big deal. And like I said, I see it long term, and like I said, like how every single child is using a tablet and a cell phone, every single person in this generation, every single teenager is buying skins in the game. That's how things are going to be used going on forward. So seeing this as an asset that is not going to retain value, to me, is kind of like, to me, I see it as inevitable. It's going to maintain its value, and not just maintain. I think it's going to continue to go up because, like I said, the total listings for the partner statue has been going down. So once people realize that and there's a supply shock, I think the price is just going to drive much higher, much faster. And that's not just based off of, you know, it being it's an asset that, you know, you can never really predict. But I think just based off of how I foresee, you know, the market, not just the market, but how society is moving, I can see that as being a driving force in the value of these long term as well.
Totally agree.
Max also added, these are both FAs of Mickey and Walt. Yeah.
Yeah, and I totally agree with what Max has said, you know, about trying times. This is where you buy these things, but I'm just thinking from a global, you know, from a larger scale, like the general market. People don't see these things, you know, and this is why, like, prices are going a certain way, and people right now probably don't see value, except for those who do see value in the partner statue, you know, and that's why it could be risky, right? And if you understand certain values, then you risk what you can lose, you know.
So consider like Bitcoin. Let's say you bought Bitcoin at 200 bucks, right? That's a steal back then when you bought it. Let's say the price went up to like 400 bucks, right? You're super happy, you just doubled your money, and it continues going up. It went up to 800 bucks, and you're like, wow, this is amazing. I made a ton of money. And as much as people could have told you to sell at 400 thinking that was the top, and it continued to go up to 800, and now you're like, okay, do I buy back in? And let's say they bought back in at 800 and the price dumped back to 200. Now it's like super panic. Everyone's like, okay, this is a worthless asset, it's not going anywhere. But the people that bought in at Bitcoin when it went back down to 200, they're happy because the next bull run it went up to 1600, and then, you know, it may drop back down to 800. But at the same time, look at it now, like it's up 40k, and it's like, okay, when do you see the top and when do you see the bottom? Like there's gonna be waves in between, but if you have that long-term vision and realize that, okay, this is gonna be the future, it's gonna be used in some way. Like if you can foresee that, then you're gonna be that millionaire because you're buying on these dips. Or I mean, you're just buying and just holding. Like all you had to do was hold. That's all you had to do. You didn't even have to trade. You didn't have to sell. You didn't have to rebuy, you know? All you had to do was just buy it one time and hold it. And if you did that, you were good. That's all you had to do. And that's kind of how I see this. Like if you're questioning like, should I buy, should I sell, should I buy, should I sell? I mean, all you have to do is just hold. That's really all you have to do.
Yeah, but the thing with Bitcoin is different because with like an asset like Bitcoin, you could buy like fractional amounts and still make your money based off of the amount of percentage that it has increased. However, with a partner statute, it's really tough. Like I mentioned, it's still an illiquid asset, and you can't really buy fractional amounts of the partner statute. You can't buy his toe, you can't buy his foot, you can't buy his hand.
You could fractionalize with a DAO. If you wanted to, you can come in with a DAO and you can all buy a piece of Walt. If you want to.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
you do that with NFTs. You have projects that go in and try to fractionalize.
But the reality is that that's not available right now. You know, so what I'm saying is that you're
available. People actually go in and they're buying other projects. Like they want to go in and they buy a Bored Ape, and they're fractionalizing.
No, we're talking about partners right now, though. You know, when I say partners, it's like you have very limited amount of people who are willing to pay these prices. You know, that's what I'm trying to say. You know, so like I mentioned, illiquid. Yes, there's value. Yes, I know Walt is gonna go way higher than it is, but the reality is that it's gonna be hard to find that particular specific buyer because it's an illiquid asset.
I wouldn't say so much. Kind of like Max is saying here, like if you bought it at 50K and you'd still be excited, like I'd be too, because if I bought it at 50K, I knew that it would be at 100K one day, and I wouldn't care about the dip in between, because like I said, there's 58 million millionaires. That's 58 million, not 58, 580K, 58K or whatever. That's 58 million. Those are the people that will actually spend, 50K, 100K or buy it from you, because all you need is, what is there, 4,000 of these, and there's 58 million. Like out of 58 million people, there is over 4,000 hardcore Disney fans out of the 58 million. And it's not right now, since this is not mainstream, since this is not the norm, the metaverse, NFTs, it's a new thing. Like, since that's not normal at the moment, that's going to be harder to sell at the moment. But as this gets adopted, and that you have a special piece that's going to be valuable long term, like I don't care what the price action is at the moment. And that's why I say it's just safer to hold in these situations.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how things play out. We'll see if people will buy it at these high prices, right? Like later on down the road. Obviously, this is like a 10% drop from 15 or 20%, I suppose. What was the highest it went? Like 38? 40?
It was up to about 48K.
Okay, so about almost 40 to 50%.
It's taken about a 50% drop, but
yeah,
it's not to me, it's not a big deal with the big pump and dump like that. Being in crypto, that's normal to me. Like I see it all the time, so it's not like when I was early, right? That was something that I was like, man, I should have got in, or I should have sold, or did this, right? But like seeing how the market has moved or whatnot, like I'm not phased by Walt going down. And like I said, if Ecomi will use my access card idea, because I'm telling you, that's gonna be a crazy, not just for VeVe NFTs, but all NFTs in the market. If they use that idea, that is gonna allow not just IPs to have utility uses for it, but that'll allow community to have utility for it, right? Like, I could just be a regular store that's willing to apply a discount if you can just scan your access code and prove that you own this certain NFT or something, right? It doesn't have to be at Disney World or anything like that.
Max says, A5, do you think Walt is worth holding long term? For me, yes, I think it is worth holding, but the problem is that the argument between that the discussion that we had was how can certain generations really see the value in Walt if they don't understand the whole context of Walt and Mickey, right? Like, because I truly believe that this generation would much rather invest in things that they see value, such as Spider-Man or any kind of other type of IP, right? Because many people don't really understand who Walt is or Mickey, because Mickey is not really as relevant as he is nowadays. And that was kind of the discussion that we had. And the thing is, like, this generation, would they drop that much amount of money into something that they don't really see, or how could we assume that they even know who Walt is, other than that he is a Walt Disney?
I think another great thing is that not just that, but this generation has the ability to educate themselves however they wish, right? So if there's something that they're not aware of, or anything that they wish to educate themselves on, they can easily do so with just a simple Google search, right? Like, they can easily Google, hey, who found Disney? Or hey, who's Walt? Hey, who's Mickey? And I mean, that Google search alone, that they have that ability to do their own research, I think they'll find significance in that, and they'll know who Walt is, they'll know who Mickey is, because anytime you look up Disney, Walt and Mickey's tied to it.
Assuming you have a Walt A5, what would your sell go be? For me, if I were to have a Walt, I think my number, I would say 100K. It could go higher, but 100K from, let's just say I got it at mint prices, that's a good return. And like Crypto Addict said, profit's profit. And as long as you know your number and you have your number, for me, I think golden moments, I'm ultimately targeting 10K a piece, just because they're super iconic. But for Walt, obviously, I think 100K, because of the number itself it's like a psychological number, right? Like, people will think like it's already hit 50K, so what's another 1x, right?
I don't know. I don't plan on selling Walt for anything less than $1 million. So
yeah, I mean,
you gotta give me some digits behind.
If you think that 100, if you think he's worth $1 million, then yeah, by all means, sell at $1 million. But there are people who have their specific number, and that would be my number, to be honest. And if it goes up, it goes up. Like, I have to face the reality of, like, things people will come in and buy and willing to pay at these prices. That's fine. That's how the market, and that's how this whole trading market is supposed to work. People are willing to buy at certain prices. People are willing to sell at certain prices.
Man, I'm not even letting Elsa go for anything less than $1 million. Elsa's going for $1 million.
All right, yeah, good for you. I mean, that's fine, right? I mean, everyone has their number, so I mean, you just gotta respect that number, right? There's no need to, like, say like, oh no, she's, like, yeah, we're all subjected to our own opinion. So whoever has their number, by all means. You think they're going to $1 million? All right, that's cool. For me, 100K, I'm good.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you like. Truthfully, it doesn't matter what you cash out at, because either way you're winning, right? Like you made profit. That's good, and yeah, you're winning. Like you're not losing by taking profit. So
Yeah.
what other marketplace is letting you make that type of gain, anyways, right? So yeah, that could be life changing money for a lot of people, and that's great. You know?
What's up, Tiny? How you doing?
Hey, Tiny.
Let's see. Oh, gotcha. I feel like Mickey and Walt are one of the things that kind of transcend current pop culture. They're behemoths in IP. Totally agree. Yes. For sure. 100K. You're a cheap date. Honestly, man, yeah, I am. Because it only takes me one drink and I'm good.
I drink water, man, every time.
He says $500,000 will wet my palate to even consider. Yeah, man, like think about it. Like even 50K is good money, you know. Like once you, I don't know. At some point, you don't want to be too greedy. And sure, if you believe 1 million, then go ahead, 1 million, sure. But at some point, man, you gotta understand, like this is crazy to make this much amount of money off of this in this day and age, right? Like our parents back then did not have this opportunity, and you gotta be realistic sometimes. He said that's true. As long as you're making profits, it's all good. Yeah, you know, like we always say, right? We all gonna make it, right? So I mean, we either make it at 100K, make it at 1 million, whatever. It doesn't matter. Just be glad that we have this opportunity.
Yeah, it's an incredible opportunity that I think a lot of people don't realize that, man, like even with these dips, like these dips are a crazy opportunity. Like this is what everyone asked for, right? Like everyone's like, man, I wish the price would go back down to this so I can.
Oh yeah.
Like
no, I'm not denying. I'm not denying that the fact that this is an opportunity to make money right now, right? Because anything like 50% from the highs, you can definitely expect that price go sideways. Once the sellers get away, like you mentioned, people will start buying. When things start buying, the price will go back up. You know, you always want to buy whenever there's blood, and that's like a number key rule in investing, right? You never want to buy when people are talking about it so much and things that are just so high up.
Yeah, and I was showing earlier the chart of how the listings have gone down. Pop it back up. Like you can see, like even when it was selling for 45K, like you had 221 listings here. And to think that
and how much are we at now? See,
the price has gone down, but the listings have gone down. That means people are actually buying this. They're just not pumping the price up. They're buying it on the cheap, and there's less actually going out in circulation. So think about it. You have gaps. You're gonna have gaps in the prices now, and so you know it used to take you like 10 buys to get from 40K to 50K, and now it's like gonna take you like 3, and you're gonna hit 50K from 40K because people are undercutting, and you know they're giving up their position that they had higher just to lower the listing price to get it sold. And those gaps are going to make a difference in the next pump, the next FOMO train, and you don't want to miss it, man, because it's going to move fast.
Yeah, and the reason why I was trying to play a little devil's advocate, because you know, helping people understand, like sometimes it's pure speculation, right? Like, but if you believe in something specific, you know what you're putting your money into. That's the key thing. And of course, don't take anything that we say as financial advice. You know, if you know the value, if you see the value in partner statute, by all means, buy a partner statute. However, you know, if you're just buying purely off of what we're saying and purely off of speculation, and if, let's just say, things could easily go the other way south, I mean, that's all on you, right? Like, because you didn't do the research and you purely got greedy in investing in something at these prices. So that's why I was trying to be devil's advocate and helping people understand, like, there's both sides of the story, you know. So, but
there's
clearly
always
there's always a risk. You got to understand the risk. But clearly we're all big on VeVe, especially on Disney's, and of course, Mr. Walt is the heavy hitter in this situation.
And man, like I said, not just that. Like there's just so much. Like Recur is releasing. Shifting gears here. Recur is releasing their NFTs with March 14th, which is a few days, and there's a few. Man, I was surprised the first thing they showed was Nate Robinson, because I was thinking his golden moment was getting knocked out.
I know. I don't know what Recur is doing, man. Once you told me that, I was a little disappointed. I don't even know how much the passes are going around for right now. Have you checked?
But it's not so, that's why I said college was like their main thing, kind of getting in, because
they're doing it like a Top Shot now, right? It's like a Top Shot moment. No,
it seemed like it, but it wasn't like a moment. It's more like it seemed like a frame of the character or the person.
So sad, man, because they have. I feel like Recur had an opportunity, a little window to possibly, catch some of the market share from VeVe on their platform, but I don't know what they're doing right now.
I did like, they had a lot of not influencers, but athletes kind of saying that, hey, like I'm gonna be on a thing, and I mean, none of them really stood out except I think John Morant is gonna be pretty big.
Really? Yeah, you're a Nate Robinson fan, man.
Nate Robinson knockout. Like if they were
the knockout moment. Oh, I remember that. Oh my god.
If they were doing shot moments, and they had Nate Robinson, I was like, man, that knockout moment, that is a valuable moment for real.
Oh,
like, that's gonna be worth some money. If they did that.
I didn't think his career went downhill, but from that knockout, man, it went even lower, bro. Like, oh man, I felt so bad.
Jake's the real deal, though, man. So it's all right.
Man,
I like this right here. Purchasing a wallet strictly off of crypto addicts' financial advice. I mean, not financial advice, but these numbers don't lie here, man. These numbers don't lie. Look at these listings going down. These aren't supposed to work together. Like the numbers, the supply is not supposed to go down, and the price is not supposed to go down with the supply. When supply
there
goes
needs
down,
to be
price is supposed to go up.
Yeah, eventually there's gonna be some divergence going on, like so yeah.
And I'm gonna have to. I don't want to re-go through the whole concept, but I'm gonna have to tell you a little bit about what I explained earlier, Max, with the my whole access cards, because I think that's a brilliant idea. So whoever actually caught that, whatever company, whatever business, you guys need to make that. I'm telling you that's going to be a hit.
I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure there are people trying to figure out how to incorporate that. I mean, that's the only way, right? To give these NFTs and collectibles more utility.
That's what they're used for.
Yeah, give incentives for people who are owning them, especially these big IPs. They already have like their established type merchandises, established type theme parks, or even restaurants. I know Disney owns a lot of, same thing with Marvel in DC. So yeah, I think it'll be a good opportunity for them to capitalize on the utility of their collectible. So
for sure, man, we kind of went through a lot here. How long have we been going? Hour and a half.
Yeah. So I mean, interesting times. For now, for me, best time if you are limited on capital, I would say the best thing is to hold. And that's what I'm doing, because yeah, it's kind of a,
if you're investing, not financial advice, but invest in the IPs that have already withstood the test of time. And if you're flipping, flip flip something outside of Marvel and Disney because you don't want to pay that 8.5. That's kind of rough.
Yeah. For me, I'm a trader, so I tend to move my money around depending on the trend. And right now, the trend appears to be like commodities and precious metals. But it looks like it's starting to top out, and I think Bitcoin may have its run, and honestly, it might be really dominant to where a lot of the altcoins will take another huge hit, to be honest. What do you think?
What about Omi? What do you think about Omi? Like, Omi's
my Omi,
it's been free falling for a little bit.
I mean, let's just say I'm a Omi millionaire, but it doesn't only in Omi tokens. Man.
Like this, so the circulating supply is not changing, but what you realize is that there hasn't been any type of major Omi news or major Omi utility that really has been driving the price. So it's natural that the price would kind of fall with, VeVe collectibles kind of falling. It's like hype is kind of dying down. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So if you haven't gotten to Omi and you're big on VeVe, not financial advice, but these prices, they're kind of nice. They're kind of nice compared to what I purchased at. So, FYI.
Yeah, it's. I don't see Omi really being. I mean, it really depends on the success of VeVe, but Omi is going to be a major player, man. Because like I said, it may take really a couple years to really hits, but once we're burning the circulating supply, I think that's really going to drive the price crazy, and it's going to be moving crazy fast.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, I'm not worried about these prices because I ultimately know that I know the value of what Omi should be at based off of how well VeVe has done this past year, these past couple years at least. So yeah, and they're still continuously building and improving the app, so, and still doing drops. So I mean, the last drop that I got was the Black Panther, and I thought that was a sick drop, man.
What do you think? I think Black Panther is really undervalued because he's almost like a mirror image of Spider-Man in a way, and
yeah,
I think his popularity is just gonna grow, and I think he could be a major player like in the future as well. So Black Panther,
possibly, man, yeah. I mean, I have Black Panther, yeah, big time. Yeah, with Omi utility too. I know they added the ability to use Omi on like Immutable X, and I think there's gonna be more. Like I talked about Token Trove being the next thing to come up with Omi as far as a way to buy and sell collectibles, but I think more will follow. I don't know if OpenSea will include Omi, but I mean, with Immutable X integrating with them, and depending on how that works out, I could see Omi potentially being a way to use it on the platform through the integration of Immutable X. But I think Omi will be used for more projects like that as well. Yo, I got my birth mint. Oh, that's sick.
Nice.
How'd you do that? You bought it secondary, or you minted it? What are the odds?
If you were able
if you minted it,
your birthday, that's kind of crazy.
No way. Oh, you've got to have gotten it from secondary. What are the odds? Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that's what I thought. That'd be crazy if you got it. If you minted that.
Yeah, I really, the Black, like at first when they were showing like the animations for the Black Panthers, like the secret rare one, I was like, all he does is like lunge at you, but there's more to it. I wish they showed like the whole thing.
So someone tweeted about Marvel and how DC's not doing it, but how Marvel is just releasing like, you know, replicas, right, of the same mint but different poses and stuff. What do you think about that? That made me think about like, oh, that's right. All they're doing is just changing the poses.
Yeah, that's true. But it's not. If you look at Spider-Man, a lot of them are pretty iconic poses. You know, you have him hanging, you have him, you know, slinging the web, and his, you know, his stance. Like, I mean, they're known poses for the character, so I don't have an issue with it.
Okay, yeah. I mean, the guy, whoever tweeted that, had a good point, because I mean, DC, I don't think there were like multiple poses, not that I'm aware of.
DC does a little different. They have like different like artists.
Yeah. So I thought that was an interesting approach that they were doing when they were releasing their collectibles. So I thought that was cool, and that's something pretty good that DC's doing differently compared to Marvel.
Yeah, and all those collectibles, they're like real world collectibles. So that's pretty awesome. That's the drive between like owning these digitals and physicals. I think DC did a good job of that, because it brings awareness to their physicals, and those are limited too.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think you got a couple, right?
Yeah, Todd and Harley's are the ones I got.
Gotcha. Yeah, I went to the comic book store the other day, and I actually saw a couple that were on the VeVe app. I think it was like Harley Quinn, the Joker I saw, and there was another one. I forgot what it was. I think it was like Nightwing or something.
Was that your first time going into a comic book store since using VeVe?
No. I've been going. I'll just go and check out like the mangas.
Okay. Wait, have you gone before VeVe?
The what, comic book stores?
Yeah, comic book stores.
Oh yeah. I mean, for like mangas and stuff.
Okay.
But I just happened to check out their action figures in this kind of go around. I went to go check out the DC action figures. Yeah.
I noticed myself looking at the action figures a lot more, and kind of contemplating like, I wonder if this is coming on VeVe or whatnot. Like, and seeing what they have, like, I feel like I've gained a lot more respect for the art of these statues and whatnot due to VeVe. It's crazy, like what VeVe has kind of turned you into as like a person, because like I've never done it before, and now I have like collectibles in my house that are like I never thought I would have. You know, like, I mean, I had toys that I kind of bought, but they were nothing like statues or anything, you know.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think it did bring more awareness, especially with comic books, right? Like I started like noticing more and just getting into more comic books, but I've always been like into like manga. But now I am being more, you know, appreciative of like the old school comic books, and also like the action figures or the statues.
You know what we need to do is we need to go into a comic book store and wear like a VeVe shirt and see if anybody says anything. Store recognizes VeVe and says anything, and be like, oh, you use VeVe, or who actually
is
there that knows what the app is.
I would love to wear some VeVe shirts and gear and stuff like that, but I mean, VeVe hasn't sent us anything, man. I don't know. I don't know where to get those kind of things.
Hey bro, we can make some right here. I got a press right behind.
Nah, I want it sent from VeVe, man. We're over here giving them free. It'd be nice if free advertisement over here.
If they actually had their own merch, like if they had their own online store for merch, because I think they do really well with that. Because I mean, a lot of the community has their own type of VeVe merch, but I mean, it'd be nice to have VeVe have their own official merch store or whatnot. You know, I think that'd be a good one. And they should consider it. Maybe it's coming soon with the web app and their web platform. Who knows?
Gotcha. Let's see. My son loves manga. He's currently reading Boys Run the Riot and Chainsaw Man. Ah, cool. Chainsaw Man. Not bad. I haven't really gotten to it. I only heard a little bit. Boys Run the Riot. I thought that was interesting. Isn't it about like a transgender boy or something, right? In the school? Not sure. Only briefly skimmed through it.
You know me, I personally don't watch a lot of anime because I like to multitask, and I have a hard time watching anime that I have to read because I have to keep my eyes on the TV and read it. So that's the only reason why I have a hard time watching anime. Like, I love it when I watch it because they're so, like, they get you emotionally like tied to every single character. But I just hate. I mean, I understand that, you know, you can use the English dubs or whatnot, but it's like it's not the same. And then a lot of times I find that their voices are annoying when they do. It's just better when you read it, and I just don't like reading when I could do something else. Like I like to do what I'm doing and multitask and have something running where I can like occasionally look over, but I can hear what's going on or something, you know. That's my only struggle with anime. But I mean, if it wasn't that,
you probably haven't found like a really good anime that you like, to be honest. There's just so many.
There's a lot that I like.
Ones.
It's just I can't.
Really? Which ones have you seen?
Read it. The ones I've seen. I mean, one of the ones I really liked at first, just me as a person, because of how I am, is like Death Note, just because I like the twists or whatnot in it, right?
Okay, Death Note was good.
And this may be offensive if I watched Attack on Titan, but me personally, I wasn't like into. But this is part of the issue, that I wasn't as into it because I didn't give it my full attention. You know, I like to multitask, and I try to have it run, and I wasn't reading everything as it was playing, so that was probably an issue on my part. But that's kind of why I didn't really enjoy it as much. But I watched that.
You really have to be. You have to really be invested in it, for sure, and be in tuned to read like the subtitles and stuff like that.
And there's so many episodes. Like even when I was watching Bleach, like, man, I watched so many episodes, and then it was like, okay, I can't continue doing this. Like, it's draining so much time, you know. And then like Naruto, there's just like so many episodes. Like I can't keep up with them. If it was something a lot shorter as far as the series, and if I could if I understood what they were saying, you know, then I would watch it a lot more, because I can kind of let it play in the background. But yeah, part of my issue was I have to read it, and I can't multitask it if I have to read. I've watched a handful, you know. I'm not like a noob. I've seen Demon Slayer. I've seen, well, like some of the old ones I've seen, like Claymore. I don't know if you know what that one is, but I've seen that. Man, I don't know. There's not too many, but you know, I've seen a handful, because I get into them, but it's just hard because I like to multitask. That's the only issue. And then I don't enjoy it as much, because when I do watch it, my attention is not fully into it, so I'm always doing something else, and it's like, I'm distracted, so I don't really enjoy it like I should.
Yeah, it's requires a lot of attention and purely preference, to be honest, for you to want to read subtitles. But otherwise, I mean, I love anime. Hoping that VeVe releases some good anime, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, if VeVe released an anime I didn't know, I would go watch it.
It's funny how people were saying Pilly Fantasy was an anime. I was like, oh, stop it. It's not anime. They're freaking puppets.
Yeah, I mean, not like I'm not trying to like diss Billy or anything. Like I've shown, like you can see like in the past videos that when I talk about it, like I wasn't on the hype train for it, you know, like there's potential, and there's still maybe potential, you know, but
sure, but like people were saying like, oh, the first anime, like no, stop.
You have Ultraman. It says anime in front of Ultraman.
Yeah, Ultraman. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not into it. Like, it's not like I said. Hey, I would flip them because you know you don't have to pay the 8%, but as far as holding, it's just not me. And me personally, like, I'm not traditional, right? And you know, like you can go and you can see like the lion dances and everything, right? But at the same time, are you gonna go buy a collectible of it or whatnot? Right? Are you gonna spend a lot of money on it? And that's kind of how I see it. Like, yes, we know about it, but are we gonna throw down a ton of money on it? And it just doesn't have that type of value to me personally to do something like that. And I feel the same way with that. Like, it just, the generational gap between people that are actually invested in it and people that just know about it is a little different. Plus, I mean, they're puppets, so it's like you kind of need physical puppets to use puppets, right? Like, you can't replicate a puppet in a digital format because you can't be a puppeteer like that yet. I mean, maybe in VR when, you know, I guess when VR advances more, then maybe you can, but yeah, I don't know. It'll take time, but to me, I just wasn't on the hype train with it. No, I'm not saying that you should sell them or anything like that, but I was just never into it from the start. And my price predictions were low, and when they came out and their prices were a lot higher than I thought, I was like, maybe I was wrong about it, right? But, yeah, they kind of retraced back.
Cool. All right, well, we pretty much been on this stream for like an hour and a half or so. So is there anything else we need to touch base on? All things VeVe. We had a little good discussion. I was playing a little devil's advocate, obviously. Ultimately, guys,
yeah,
I'm bullish on VeVe, okay? So don't get me wrong. But yeah,
we're all bullish on VeVe. I mean,
for sure,
it's in our best interest for VeVe to do well, for sure. But I mean, not trying to like say like, hey, you should get VeVe and try to get more people just to pump our bags or anything. But if you really consider like where this can be in the future, then and do your research on it, you will understand, you know, where this platform can be down the line just based off of that, and you don't have to take our word for it.
Oh yeah.
Oh well, great chat. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Thanks for
appreciate all you guys. Appreciate Max, homie, Tiny. Appreciate you guys.
Yep. Appreciate the love, guys. And yeah, we're just gonna tune out, and like we always say, we're all gonna make it. See you later, guys.
All right, peace out.